Why are psychedelics potentially helpful? What are psychedelics? And how could you potentially make best use of them? And what are potential dangers? This is what we're going to talk about here in this video. Now, first of all, psychedelics are still a hugely stigmatized topic and wrongly understood, even though research says something totally different. And I think this misunderstanding is coming due to a lack of knowledge. And I know some countries by now are more lenient than others. For example, the Netherlands. I studied psychology there. And there you can just go to a specific store and buy truffles, which are some sort of psychedelics. You can just buy them like bananas, basically. It's not a big deal. And then other countries are less lenient. And even though, if you look back into the history and compare different cultures all around the world, it was totally normal to take psychedelics. At some point, it was part of the culture. Whether you compare the Roman Empire or Greece or South America, even if you actually take a look into the Bible, you might know the story where Moses talked to this burning bush and basically talked to God and gained this deep insight about what to do, and basically gained a life purpose here. This bush was actually an acacia tree, which is loaded with DMT, which is also a psychedelic, actually a pretty strong psychedelic. Also, Francis Crick, he's actually a Nobel Prize winner, and he figured out that the DNA is a double helix. He actually gained this insight on LSD, which is also a psychedelic. And there's even a second Nobel Prize winner who did the same on LSD, I think. Also nowadays, there are already legitimate institutions where you can go to actually deal with addiction by taking psychedelics, getting over PTSD, but also alcohol or heroin. It works pretty well. Even psychotherapy is done with psychedelics. So you could take psychedelics with a psychotherapist and also before and after have therapy sessions and do this over a couple of weeks, and it works really well. I actually put a link in the description below. There is a guy giving a TED talk exactly about this topic. And yeah, generally with psychedelics, you can gain deep insights about your life purpose, what you want to do with your life. You can make major decisions, get your priorities straight and see what you truly want to do in any way. Letting go of a relationship, which studies to take, or what kind of job do you want to do in life, on all kind of other decisions. Because you really on psychedelics often take all the mental glasses off that you have. You're not biased and you just look at the things as they are. You can resolve relationship issues by being more empathetic and compassionate. You can understand love and life, and you can be more innovative as an artist, but also business owner. There's a lot of potential here. And if you by now still have a negative opinion and think, oh, psychedelics are evil, they are bad, they're just like heroin and cocaine. If you have that, I'm just throwing the question here and ask you, where is this opinion coming from? Where is it coming from? Did you hear of somebody who once had a bad trip? Maybe you yourself once took psychedelics with friends and had a bad trip, but did you do your research? Did you read articles? Did you research about how to take them, what to take, how much to take, in which context? Did you just take MDMA on a party? Just think about this. Where is your opinion coming from? And now let's actually dig a little bit deeper into what are psychedelics. Now, psychedelics are a pool of substances, and they are totally different from cocaine, even alcohol, heroin, caffeine. They work totally different. And classical psychedelics are, for example, psilocybin, which you can find in truffles or mushrooms, shrooms. LSD is also classical psychedelic. DMT, also ayahuasca, which also actually includes also some DMT in there. Even MDMA is also a psychedelic, not the classical, but yeah, those are just some of the most well-known. There are much more. And they work in a mind-expanding way. They heighten your awareness and alter your perception and thoughts in a way that is often closer to truth, especially if you do some serious contemplation on there. And now, to gain a little bit a better understanding of what psychedelics are, also in comparison to other drugs, we actually take a look at some graphs. Actually, I learned about them in my psychology studies when I did my bachelor in psychology and neuroscience. There we also learned about how drugs are working and different kind of drugs. And here in this first graph, it was actually shown to me in one of the lectures. It's rather simple. On the x-axis you can see all the different kind of drugs that are out there, and on the y-axis you see the overall harm, right? The red bar is about the harm that you can potentially do to others, and the bluish part about harm to the user itself. And you can see at the very left side, alcohol is the most harmful drug overall. Then there's heroin, crack cocaine, meth, cocaine, tobacco is also pretty high. And if you go to the very right, the very, very right, it's mushrooms. There's also LSD, there's also MDMA. Just to put things here into comparison, this is actually based on a study. This is like real scientists that came up with that and put this into a graph. And there's actually here another one. Maybe that looks a bit more tricky at the first gaze, but it's actually not. On the y-axis. You can see the dependency potential, how likely it is and how much potential is there to actually get addicted to this drug. On the x-axis you can see the lethal dose, which is really connected to death. And again, heroin, the very top corner, is here most dangerous in this graph. And you can also see cocaine and alcohol is actually pretty close. Nicotine is also quite high on dependency. And you can see there's caffeine actually right in the middle. And you can see here also that caffeine is more addictive than LSD and psilocybin. Yes, MDMA is more in the right corner here, but you have to take into consideration that MDMA is nowadays a drug mostly used while partying. Where people not only take MDMA but also other drugs. So they combine, they mix them, they drink alcohol, which is hugely dangerous to combine those sort of drugs. And also the question is, what kind of MDMA is it? How clean is it? Where did you buy it from? So this is also a huge, massive confounder here. But what is generally very clear is, for example, with LSD and psilocybin and heroin, cocaine, alcohol, nicotine, that those are rather on the other side of the corner. Just to put things a little bit into comparison. By the way, this is not part of the video here, but do you see in both graphs how alcohol is actually hugely dangerous for you and for others? And it's such a legitimate drug to take in our society. That's cool, that's okay. But if somebody's taking LSD or psilocybin, such as truffles or so, it's kind of weird. Like, why is that again? This is just a question that I leave open here. And there are probably some reasons, also history-wise, but I'm not going too much into that here. Also, what I would like to mention is that when I'm talking about psychedelics, I'm not talking about taking MDMA on a party. I'm not talking about taking some mushrooms spontaneously with some friends. You didn't do any research and the context is bullshit, or you walk through the city. This is not what I'm talking about. Actually, a psychedelic trip highly depends on the context and the intention that you have. And yes, most of the emotional high and this heightened awareness that I talked about will be gone after the trip, but you can take something with you. You can take the decisions with you that you took, and you also take some insights and awareness with you that you again then can implement in the valley of the day-to-day life. Now, let's actually talk about how to use psychedelics, what are potential dangers here, and what you should really take into consideration. The very first point is about do your research. What are you planning on taking? How much? What is the quality of that? You can actually buy test kits on Amazon for a couple of euros to really check whether the quality is pure, that there's not some other stuff mixed in. Do all this research, read trip reports, and never, 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 never mix drugs. Also start slow. This is really a key sentence here. People don't understand that because they have this wrong stigmatized picture of you take some huge psychedelic and then you get a psychosis. They don't understand that psychedelics is actually a huge, massive spectrum. There's taking a shot of 5-MeO-DMT and then there's taking some light truffles. Maybe even half of the doses if you want to. Massive difference. Start slow. Very important. So do your research. Secondly, the context, so important. Which time of your life is it? Don't take it before a week before a massive important examination or when your life is anyway stressful. Don't take it in the morning and think like, yeah, well, at 3 p.m. though I got another appointment. No, really plan out the entire day. Actually, make sure that you have a comfortable surrounding. Maybe take it in your apartment when you're alone. You could even go into nature, but make sure that you know the area and that there are not so many people around. But really at home is a very, very safe setting. Make sure that you prepared food, not that you're getting hungry on the trip. Make sure that everything is cleaned and neat and prepared. You did the washing up. You washed your clothes are clean and prepared. Like everything is tidy. Your life is basically together. Get your life together. So you also have a clear mind. Also make sure that you're mindful and that it's rather silent. Yes, in the beginning it's exciting to listen to music, wow, and to walk around and look at the colors and some visuals that maybe you get. But at some point you will realize like, oh, okay, interesting, but there's some sort of distraction. Let's get to the core. Let's actually be mindful, sit down, maybe even meditate for a couple of minutes to really get into the zone and get most out of this. Also, especially in the beginning, I would advise you to not take psychedelics when it's super cloudy, there are no leaves on the tree. This context really has influence on the general mood. So it's best if it's like there are some leaves on the tree or there's at least like blue sky. It also really influences your trip tremendously. And just to mention again, don't walk around in a big city. Don't be somewhere where you've never been before. Make sure that it's calm and nice. Prepare the day again. Maybe even have some nice music with you potentially that you could use if you want to. Make sure that everything is set up, calm, clean, prepared. And also, and this is here the third point, is that you actually have an intention. Why do you want to take them? Which question do you have? Maybe it's even the intention of just looking what is coming up. But then here, this intention helps you to actually prepare your trip. Again, clean everything up, be calm, be mindful, focus on yourself, do some inner work. Do you see already now how different that is from going on a party and taking that stuff or with some friends to have some fun? And again, the intentions and the context is a huge game changer when it comes down to the type of the trip. Will become totally different. Also make time afterwards. Again, don't take them and say, oh, in a couple of hours I have another meeting. No, actually map out this entire day and be like, hey, Sunday, actually Saturday is the best day because then the day after you still have the day off usually. Map out the entire day and plan for that. So afterwards you can also integrate these insights. It's very important, especially to take those insights with you in the valley of the day-to-day life, that you make a trip report yourself, write things down, take notes, contemplate what does it mean for me. Very important to actually make use of them on the long term and you gain something out of this on the long term. It's not just taking them, having fun and then leave. It's not the intention that you want to have. Also, I really want to say that there is risk involved, especially if you have some schizophrenia, borderline depression, or whatever psychological issues in your family, this might be potential danger. Be aware about this. Also, I'm not advising anybody to take that below 21. Got different things to do there. Really don't focus on that at this age. Anyway, by the way, I'm not advising anybody to take them illegally. And I'm also, by now I can say I'm not advising to take them more than once a week, because anyway, you will realize how non-addictive they are. You take a psychedelic and afterwards you're just like, whoa, this was deep. I need some time to integrate that. I'm not up to that right now. And really take this time again, contemplate, let it sink, take time on your own. Very, very valuable. This is what you really take care of. And again, you have to do more research. The context is massively important. The intentions are massively important. And it's massively important that you take time afterwards to integrate these insights. Okay. This intention of this video was basically to gain you some more insights, knowledge in a dense, concise form. Why it might be potentially helpful, what are they, those psychedelics everybody talks about, and how can you make use of them. I hope that helped you. Also check out really this link in the description below about this psychotherapist, for example, who does psychedelics with his patients. Also an interesting topic if you're curious about that. And subscribe to this YouTube channel. You know how things are going, give a thumb up, it makes the video more visible. Also stick around if you're into learning about your psychology, practical psychology, and gain insights about yourself and your own psychology in a clear and practical way. And I really felt obligated to actually share this knowledge here with the world, because if you really want to gain insights about your psychology and become more aware of what is happening, psychedelics might be a very, very, very powerful tool, because it's basically like coaching yourself, right? If you talk to somebody else, you have to share everything. The coach needs to figure out, okay, was that everything? Is he trying to hide something? Where's the wrong perception? But if you take psychedelics and you reflect on yourself, you know everything about yourself, right? And you let go of all those glasses and you can look totally unbiased on yourself, how you feel, who you are, where did you react in which way, and what is more authentic, and where do you have fears, and where are fears from the past that you haven't worked out yet, and how do you overcome those things. This is what you can then directly, quickly see with psychedelics, because you're not biased. It's like a coaching for yourself, basically. This is the potential. Again, be very responsible with that. I'm not advising you anything here. You have the responsibility for everything you do in life. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.